It's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra. Fuck with me, you know that I got it. Come with me, let's take a trip to the islands. We up on the jet, we'll do more than just fly on it. Stand on that hill, you gon' die on it. Boom. Baby, I'm not one of them, you should try on it. Miss me with all that, I'm on it and next. Fuck this up, I send you back to your ex. But good luck with that, this is big as it gets. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Oh shit, they don't let me shoot a whole clip. Firepower in this coalition. We just turned the field into a demolition. It was desolate, but I had premonition. I was training for war, every exhibition, every extra mission, every enemy listening. Get off my dick, I got bad intentions. Make it right every wrong, and I'm back with a vengeance. I show you the ropes. Peace in my town, I can show you the coast. Up in the shots if they wanted to smoke. If you know, then you know. Suited up, bitch, my whole team do the same. Don't you forget who created the game. Ready for war, I was born with grenades. The trenches where soldiers are made. Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever.
Hey everyone, how you doing? There we go. This was an impromptu session here to do at the last minute, but not a problem. Just wanted to talk a little bit with some people, especially those who are looking at getting into the drone business itself, and some of the things that you may need to look at overall. This will be more of a what we call a question and answer chat session. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. and go on from there. But of late, I have put out some videos that I have mentioned about moving to the next level, going to the next phase. And hey, what's going on, Tex Arch? And I'm moving on with that. And what those videos were referencing, well, let me back up first before I go down that road. A little over a year ago, when we were all getting up in arms about remote ID, and I looked at that, I was one that was still using quite a few Phantoms, the version 1 at the time. I had about 4 of those. And hey, good afternoon, Steve. And I was looking at the possibility of spending close to about $1,000 in buying modules. But I also wanted to make sure, being a commercial operator, I need to be stepping my game up, to put it out there in regular terms. I need to be put on the short list with clients that I would be the guy they would want to call whenever they needed some services in my area. And that's the first place I want to start with is my area. And when I say that, I tell people a lot of times that running a drone business is more of a trying to two different ways, two different phases. You can stake out an area or a state, depending upon whatever is easy for you to transverse. But for me, I didn't want to become a road warrior per se. There are individuals who do that. You may live in a small state area where you need to be able to travel, or it's easy for you to travel from one state to another within an hour or two. I live out here in California, in Southern California, and to go up and down the state of California can be quite daunting, not just in distance traveling, but traffic is one of the things you have to look at. So early on in my career, one to go into being a commercial drone operator, as far as my own business, which is going on 4.5, almost 5 years now. I made that choice that I didn't want to have to be fighting traffic for the most part. Hey, God bless America. Glad you're here, partner. Appreciate it. And drone shots, Jody. So I had to make sure I was going to be one of the top-notch pilots in my area. So when people come to this area, which we fondly call it the Inland Empire here in California, my name, my company, my brand would be one of those names that would be brought forth to whoever wants to come out and do work. And the reason why you say, well, how can you do that? How can you think like that? And I say, coming from a construction background, and even before that, a law enforcement background, those communities are tight-knit. If you work in construction long enough, you will see some of the same people again and again. And that's how a lot of work gets done in the construction industry, is that people like who they like. They will work with those same people. And that's how, you stay gainfully employed. You do good work for people, and they will come back and visit you or come back and request you to do other projects that come their way. So it's not hard to think on that level to say, okay, if I team up with so-and-so, hopefully we'll do more work again in the future. So that has been my mindset, is that staying with a group of people, staying with certain clients, and riding this ship as far as it will take me. Like I said, there's a lot of jobs, I would say, out here out west. There's a lot of work to be done, but are you willing to travel the distances to do the work? And then you got to start asking yourself, where do you draw the line of what's really profitable for you to drive or fly or whatever means you're going to use to get to these locations compared to what you're being paid. It's kind of funny as we talk about inflation being a big thing in our national economy, But I always kind of throw that joke at some of my clients. I say everything's going up in price except for drone operators. It's like you guys are constantly trying to cut us down or cut us out of the lion's share of the money, and think we're just supposed to just take it. I say once you establish yourself in the industry, you are being able to start to dictate a little more of your terms, of what you're willing to accept and what you're not going to accept. But that takes time. It doesn't happen immediately. It doesn't happen for the simple fact that you own a drone. As I've said many times before, my credentials that I possess and that I have attained over the years is what keeps my foot in the door. Now, that might be different for others, because I would tell people all the time, hey, I need to learn more about the photography side than what I know about the construction side. There's a lot of guys out there, and I tip my hats to them, who come from the photography side of the house, and they take some beautiful pictures because they understand things like apertures, they understand things like exposures, and all this different stuff that you can get so much out of a drone. It's just sometimes it's just mind-boggling, but like I said, it just goes to show what their skill level is on that side of the house. Just like there's certain things I know on the construction side, and that's why I stay heavily in the photogrammetry / and mapping side of the house. So let me back up and get on my story here. So as remote ID was coming upon us last year in September, I made a business decision to say that for me to really step up my ability, step up my equipment's ability, I need to go 2 or 3 steps beyond. And that time I made the decision to go with every job I do, regardless if it's requested or not. Everything I fly will be primarily RTK assisted. That was the decision I made, not the requirement of all the jobs I do, but if I did any job that requires photogrammetry / mapping work, it will be RTK, because that's what it's for. Like I said, every once in a while, like this week, I took on 2 small jobs this week, last minute. One was a house, I can say real estate of a house, which I haven't done a house in, I would say, at least 2 or 3 years, if not longer. But I did a house in Redlands, California. It was probably in excess of value, somewhere around $1.5, $2 million home. Okay. Last minute job. They called me on Tuesday and said that they were pressed for time and needed it done by Thursday. I almost walked away from the job because of the time frame that they wanted done. But I said, you know what? Sometimes you got to be a little more flexible out there. And since I know my area quite well, I figure, hey, it's 20 minutes away from my office. I can knock this out on my lunchtime. And that's what I did. I did it on Wednesday. I got a call the week before about doing a Costco. We had a Costco in Fontana, California, who redid their gas station. Very small job. All these are just still videos. Excuse me. So, like I say, knocked that out last night. It was primarily almost, like I say, a sunset night shoot. And so we took that on, got out the way. I was out there both jobs were less than an hour complete. One, I think I used a battery and a half for the Costco job, and that was just because when you're doing manual flying and taking the still shots, you spend more time just getting to a position, trying to frame the shot up, which, like I say, uses up battery power. Hey, how we doing, Sean James, Spartan Aero Services? Glad you guys popped on in. But like I say, what I'm saying here is that, you have to judge yourself on your time and your efficiency. I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, and I see some of these guys break out some gear, and I hear them talk about, and these guys are spending 2 to 3, 4 hours on a job that, from my perspective, they shouldn't be out there no more than maybe an hour, hour and a half. Because this is where you make your money in drone work, is being efficient with your time. Be efficient with your drone. If you're out here as a recreational pilot, knock yourselves out. You're not, time is not on your shoulders. But for me, I always look at this as a business. And that's the way I encourage anyone who wants to get into this. You have to look at this from a business perspective. If you were doing anything else, your time would be the biggest factor of what you're charging a client or charging a customer. Your time is valuable, because the time you're spending in one place, you could be spending it somewhere else. So if you have that, that lackadaisical attitude, you're killing yourself. Sean James, no, I'm not a realtor. I was contacted by someone to come do this location in Redlands, California, and like I said, I almost walked away from it. But like I say, this Redlands is in my operating area, and I want everybody to call me when something pops up in my area. I don't want them to think about anybody else. I want them to call Recovery One Drones and so forth. So that's what I'm getting at, that when I tell people to get into, or I hear people talking about get into the drone business, there are several factors that you need to look at, several things you need to consider. And I'm not talking about your ability to fly a drone. And I'll be first to admit, the drone flying part is not that critical. The more time you spend on the sticks, the better you'll get. Simple as that. Can't get no simpler than that. The more time you spend on the sticks, the better you will get. There'll be mistakes still made, but those mistakes will be mitigated because you have more experience. And that's what you need to assess your own abilities by. Like I tell folks, especially in photogrammetry work, mapping, 98% of the work is done by the drone, and it's autonomous. Your job is to babysit it. And like I say, that's about it. So, like I say, that factor, your value really comes in is your knowledge of what goes on a construction site and what's your qualifications to be on a construction site. If you're into residential realty work, I say most of your value will come in the post-production if you're doing post-production work. I have to hold up Original Dobo because I've watched this man over the last several years doing basic residential photo shoots and indoor, video and all this kind of stuff, to now you look at his work, it is on a whole nother level. This guy is putting out basically commercial grade footage out there. He's incorporating the agents. He is putting in voiceovers. He is doing a lot of stuff. It's not just him taking pictures of properties. He has gone full production level line work. So, like I say, this is part of his business plan, and that's what this whole thing is about tonight. Is about a business plan. When you get into commercial drone work, like I said before, a business is a business, and you need to ask yourself where you want to be at certain levels or certain timetables of your business, and that's that is what's going to drive you forward. Are those self-initiated goals or timelines? Like I said, for me, I got into this as an inspector for my city that I work for to get my job done a lot more efficiently. Once I started doing that, a year later, the light bulb came on because I'm talking to these site foremen and stuff, and they see me come out with my drones, and they say, "Hey, we got a guy in our company that comes out and does the same thing." Okay, Johnny Gilbert, how do you feel about the non-flying jobs where you have to hold your drone to inspect work? Can you fly? I haven't had to do hardly any type of work like that, Johnny, for the most part. And this is why I say, as far as your skill level, I also, keep a DLSR camera with me. It's a Canon T7. It does great work. It's not one of the latest ones out there, but for the amount of groundwork that I do, and I say for me, the biggest factor with my groundwork is that I have a GPS module that sits up on the hot shoe. So any work I do on the ground, it gets the GPS coordinates of every picture. So it gets all the GPS data on those shots. And that's what most of the clients want, is they want to know where you're at on the site taking these shots. So that's been one of the biggest factors for me as far as using the ground. You can get a drone down fairly easy. I know I can, down to about, I would say, between 5 to 10 feet. Take shots. Now, once again, like last night, I was out doing a Costco gas station shot. Okay, I'm down there below the roof line taking shots. Cars are pouring in and out. So right there, I have to be more concerned with, the safety of my operations more than anything else. I don't want to upset any of the drivers because some people are very nervous about drones. So you got to consider that. So you don't want to get too close to the pump area. So I have both my DLSR and my drone. A lot of the shots I took of the gas pumps, as far as internally underneath the canopy, I took with my hand camera, ground camera. Any other shots above it or at the canopy level, I took with the drone. So this is where you have to think safely about your own operations, of what you think is going to be safe and what's going to keep not just you safe, but keep the public safe if you're in a public area. So those are two factors you always got to consider. Continue on with the story. So September rolls around, remote ID pops up. I opted to go, instead of buying $1,000 worth of modules to fit on my Phantom 4 Pros, I opted to go ahead and initially purchase a Mavic 3 Enterprise drone. Okay. I've already been a little bit familiar with RTK because my Mavic Enterprise Advanced thermal drone came with a RTK module. The M30T, which I purchased the year before, came with built-in RTK, so I had some familiarity with RTK and how it operates. The only thing I added to my RTK operations is I went ahead and spent the money in getting a base station. And that was one of the key things I felt was made a difference, because now you hear a lot of people talking about using N-Trip. You go back to about maybe a year or so, and few people knew about N-Trip. And usually N-Trip may be your state or a local private entity that is selling or offering free N-Trip service, which is basically RTK services out there for whatever reasons possible. Here in California, our N-Trip system is sponsored by the federal government through funds that are distributed through the University of California system. And the reason why I say that, because these schools are all part of our earthquake tracking analysis system that we have here in California. So you can possibly tag into that system from the far north ends of the state all the way down to the border to Mexico. I say some areas may have several of them, like where I live at. I live on the San Andreas Fault where my city is. So I have 3 just within, I would say, 10-mile radius where I'm at. Now, I'll be first to tell you, my experience using an N-Trip service has not been satisfactory. it's been pretty much hit and miss. And that's why I went with the base station setup, because the base station setup never fails me. Okay, always connects, never leaves me hanging. The in-trip service, sometimes you have trouble connecting, or you come back and change a battery and then you can't get reconnected. And once again, that interferes with your time. I don't have, it doesn't benefit me or me as a business to have to sit there and wait or deal with interruptions. Okay, if I could be at a site, be there and be out of there within about 2 hours on a decent sized site, shooting 400 plus acres of land, I'm in and I'm out. I should not have to be there 3 to 4 hours doing the same work, because now I'm worried about if the in trip is going to be consistent. Because you can live, I mean not live, but you can have intermittent in trip service. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. And that means you're just sitting around wasting time trying to get reconnected. So that was the decision I made last year. Now, to move forward, that was last September. Here we are now, May, or actually we'll call it June, because June's tomorrow. June of 2024. Okay. I have been looking to move my business, myself, into the next level. And I kept thinking telecom was going to be that next level for me to go. I had some phone calls with a few people who are looking for pilots that had some experience and to do telecom work. But once I started hearing the requirements, it just wasn't going to be a good fit for me at this time. And that's why I'm saying that, knowing where you want to go, knowing what's required of you to do that, may have to change your overall business plan or whatever your next step goals are. There are some who are able to make those trips, because if you do telecom work, most likely you're going to be on the road 3 to 4 days a week, traveling up and down the roads and so forth. I have not retired from my job with the city yet, so that was not going to be a good deal for me. I can't take that much time off from work and still think I'm going to have a job. So that was the one thing. One of my clients who does primarily housing developments contacted me about actually 3 weeks ago initially, and asked me, was I interested in surveying work? And I'm like, yeah, sure, not a problem. So, that was the first contact. I get contacted again about a week and a half ago, again asking me, was I still interested in it? I said, yeah, let me know when the meeting's going to take place and yada, yada, this and that. So last, what's this day? I think it was a week ago, last Thursday, not yesterday, but last Thursday, I was invited to a Zoom call. And there's about seven of us there. Most of us were out of the California area, a few from other neighboring states. And basically we're introducing us to the head surveyor, which we all will be working under, and the representative from the development company, and pretty much laid it out that, we have been selected, or at least been given this opportunity to work with a surveyor and setting our own GCPs at these sites. And that's what I'm talking about, being ready to go to the next level. Now, going to these next levels is never easy, I would say financially. Like I said, I just spent out money buying drones last year and then buying a base station last year, which was a little bit expensive. But like I say, being a commercial operation, I'm able to write a certain amount of this off on taxes. I wish it was 100%, but you get your a good fair share of taxes written off. So that makes it kind of nice, and it makes the financial pain a little less. So I'm all excited about this opportunity. Surveying is something that was on a wish list for me. Didn't know if I was going to need to go back to school myself, get some formal training to get my foot in the door, But as I tell people all the time, if you go out and do good work, use your experience to the best of your ability, you'll be surprised of what opportunities may come your way overall. And this is what happened to me. Like I say, I've been consistent in what I've been doing. My background in construction allowed me to know how to use my RTK system by finding the known points on all the sites that I've used with this company. I do an average of 8 sites a month for this company. So, like I say, they see the results of your work. And every site that I have with them, I've always been able to find a known point, a surveyor point on those sites to put my base station on. So, and the reason why I say that, because when you use a base station itself for RTK, they'll tell you, set that base station on a known point. That enhances the ability of the base station to send accurate correction data to the drone. So which in the long run means the drone flies a better route, you get better maps, they're more accurate, and that makes a better quality of product that you're trying to sell back to the client. So that's how it comes back to. Because when I first got into it, I kept seeing videos of people hopping out of their vehicles, setting up the base station, and just power it on and then go for it. And I'm saying technically, the base stations will establish their own points of reference wherever you set it up at. But then there's going to be a certain amount of error in your data because it's not correlated with the known points of the area that you're flying in. And that's why there's always a big argument about GCPs, RTK. And I tell people, I said, you can fly a site with one or the other, but there'll still be a certain amount of error in the data. The best way to fly a site is with RTK and GCPs. It makes it so much easier for your rendering software, whatever you're using, Drone Deploy, Pix4D, Maps Made Easy, Ezra, whoever you're using, it makes it so much easier on the software to put together your 2D or 3D orthomosaic map together if you're flying off known points of reference. So your GCPs are there, and then you also have check areas. It's also to make sure everything is even another level of redundancy to make sure everything is lining up. So as I said before, this was the next step for me, trying to get to that next level. Like I said, there's a cost to this. Not that I had to join a club, but I had to get a better system, a better GNSS system. Today, I just laid out about $6,000 on a survey level GNSS system that has a base station and a rover, tripods, all this kind of stuff. So I will be able to go out and set GCPs. Now, the whole trick again about setting GCPs is not walking around a site and throwing targets out randomly, okay? 9 times out of 10, those GCPs need to be, the data needs to be on those GCPs to become known reference points, okay? So you'll go out with your rover, your base station is set up on a known surveyor point. You'll take the second receiver, which is a rover, walk the site to a location that you feel is going to be an accurate area, or should be a somewhat decent area is the term I should say, for you to lay down that target, that GCP. You will lay it down there, secure it best you can. Either we're going to be with a ready-made one, or you may use paint on a site if that's available to you, or you can go the real Cadillac service level and get one of those propeller ones that have the its own GPS in it and go from there. But we'll stick with the basic ones right now. But you'll set those targets down the ground, and then you'll have to put your rover dead center of that target and use a phone or some type of a GPS system built for it, and you'll have to get the correct data for it and enter the information into the software. And like I say, most sites, you're going to put up anywhere from a minimum of 5 on a small site, and you might put up anything close to maybe about 15 to 20 on a very large site. So these are things that now that I'm getting to that range or era of work, for me, it just increases my knowledge of what I'm doing with drones, increases my knowledge in the construction industry. This is an area I never thought I would be in, but it does increase my knowledge and everything else. And I always tell people, it doesn't mean that this is all I do. Just like this week, I'm flexible enough to take on a real estate house job or a commercial job or a little small commercial job shooting a gas station. Because these are the things that I always tell people, those are the icing on the cake work. Like I said, I do 8 jobs a month for this developer. One day the housing market is going to slow down here in California, and I'm still need to know how to do other things. So doing solar work is something else I do. When I go to these housing developments that I'm doing now, and I see these houses being built, and if you live in Southern California and you see new houses that have been built in the last 10 years, you will see solar panels on all those houses. Because that's mandated by the building code of the state of California, that once you reach a certain level of houses being built, you have to have solar panels on them. So that's why I look at, using my M30T, my Maverick Enterprise Advance, is that solar is good work. You can use a lot of it. Yes, Spartan, I got the Emlyn RS2 Plus with the new rover with it. That is the system I have coming. Should be here at my house on Monday. Say how often? Every site I go to. And this is all, and I learned this when I was in construction over 20 years ago. I used to work with the grade checker. And like I said, I tell a lot of folks, no matter what I've done in life, I've always managed to pay attention to what's going on. And that's why I say, be on a job site, especially a new job site. I learned to read the markings in the streets. I know how to read the wooden laugh sticks, the ribbons, and everything else. So I'm able to find a surveyor point pretty easily. And that's where I always put my base stations on, is from a known surveyor point. So that's what, my experience has led me. And that's why when I see a lot of folks with these other videos just jump out of the vehicle and setting up the base station, I'm sitting there saying, hey, you need to let me know where you set this up and why you set it up there. Because like from my knowledge, which I've told you, my knowledge is still very basic on these things. I'm not a surveyor. No, I wasn't a full-time grade checker. I just worked with him. Basically, I was the grade checker's gopher back in the day. So these are tips I picked up on while working in the industry. And that's why I tell people, primarily because I was part of a paving crew. And when you're part of the paving crew, known points, markers, all this stuff is that you got to pay attention to it and everything. And just like, setting curbs and everything else. All these things are relied upon known points. Your curb settings, your sidewalk locations, a lot of your infrastructure as far as sewer, electrical, gas, water. All these things have to come off knowing how to read plans, which I know how to do. And that way, you don't have certain things crisscrossing certain things at certain depths, is because everything comes off known points of the site. So I say, as MQZ, I say I do at least 8 sites a month. Every site I go to, my base station goes on a known point. And some of my sites, like I say, every site evolves. Like I was out by another Rutland's job, which I got to go back out this weekend. They're paving new roads. So guess what? Sometimes my markers get destroyed because they're paving new roads that didn't exist before, and now I got to go find another marker. So that's always the challenging part. That if you're on a brand new site, new development, it's going to evolve. I go out and do these sites once a month. So how much change can happen in a month? Quite a bit. I just went to one last week or so, and the month before, they were just, finishing up the final grading on pads. Now they got a couple houses framed up. So, I mean, things can not escalate, but accelerate very quickly on a site. And I know that because when I was a heavy equipment operator, it was one of the most satisfying things that I like doing is that how we could change the landscape so rapidly in hours, days, weeks, and a month to where it does not resemble what it was before. And it's kind of funny that one of the sites that I do in Fontana, California, is a site that I worked on as a heavy equipment operator 20 years ago. And I'm out there now on the far north end of what I did 20 years ago. And now I'm flying a drone over the same area that I first started working on 20 years ago. So it has its own personal satisfaction, especially when you worked in an area, you live in an area, most of your life, and you see the changes that are taking place. So that's satisfactory to me. So that is kind of the meaning of some of the videos I put out recently, especially the shorts. And I always ask that question, are you ready? I always tell people, are you ready? You're ready. And being ready means you're willing to go forward. You've been preparing yourself to go forward, and you have the attitude that you're ready to take on the next challenge. And that is all you're going to do is benefit you overall. I know, Steve, this is your Friday pizza night with the grandkids, so you enjoy yourself, Steve. And yes, tonight we will be watching something in the backyard home theater. I think we're going to have Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning playing tonight. Last weekend we had Dune Part 1. I was going to show Part 2, but the rest of it got kind of cool up here in the Inland Empire, so we might wait. Today's been a very warm day in Southern California, so it should be a nice day to watch a movie. So I might put up a short on that, who knows. But I'll be back at work tomorrow. Tomorrow's June 1st, and guess what? That means a whole new month. A bunch of jobs already slated out. Like I said, I'm looking at my calendar right now. I have jobs listed every weekend. The only first free weekend I have of this month will be the 29th, 28th and 29th. But like I said, that's a good thing. That's what when you're trying to build something, trying to be in a business, you want your calendar to be full. Downtime is something that just happens every once in a while, but you want to try to make sure you're keeping yourself busy. And this will help you down the road if you're trying to expand, trying to hire on people. This is where that comes from, because if you can keep yourself busy, eventually down the road, especially with me doing surveying type work, setting GCPs, if I'm getting inundated with doing GCP work on sites, I may need to hire somebody to actually do fly to sites. So that way, once again, being efficient. So if I'm out there and need to set GCPs on the site and fly it, I got to look at how much time is that going to evolve into. Like I said, most days I go out flying, I fly multiple sites in a day. Simple as that. Flying drones should never be a time-consuming effort unless you're doing like farming jobs where you're doing thousands of acres. That be time-consuming because it's the amount of land that you're covering. Average development for me has been anywhere between a small site might be 50 acres to I have about three to four sites that have close to 400 acres. And even at 400 acres, that's only about using with the Mavic 3 Enterprise. Close to 400 acres is just about 2 batteries, a little over 2 batteries. So you guys know that's no more than about a hour, 15 minutes. That's it. 50-acre job, 15, 20 minutes tops flying, That's it. So if you find yourself, spending a lot more time on sites, you're eating into your own profits. There's something in your pre-flight setup that is that's hurting you overall. Like I said, I like to fly drones, and like all you in here like to fly drones. But when you're running a business, you have to have some kind of efficiency level of running a business. You just can't hang out and shoot the bull with people and stuff like that. You're out there doing a job. You don't see the carpenters and electricians out there BSing a whole lot. I mean, everybody has a little bit of downtime in between certain things because they're waiting for something, for supplies or other materials to show up. But for the most part, they're turning and burning. And as a drone operator, that's the kind of mindset that you need to have. That you come there, you break out your gear, you're ready to go. You've already prepped your flight plans all in advance before you get there. A lot of things need to happen before you even get to a job site. You need to already have your flight plan already set up. You already should have been using Google Earth or regular Google Maps to figure out where you're going and where's the best place to set up. So when you get there, you already have a strong idea of what you need to do. You want to eliminate all the frivolous stuff that burns up time. And see, God bless Americans. I know a lot of people make good money taking pictures with a drone for. I got a heart shape there in the middle of that. I'm pretty sure that's real estate or realty companies. Yeah. I mean, I always tell people, I said, if you can get, I would say, 6 realtors that can feed you houses every month, you can do pretty good for yourself. You can do pretty good and stuff. But like I said, you gotta have that network. That's why I tell people you gotta have that network. That's why I talk about construction jobs. People like working with the same people, and that'll keep you busy. And that's the whole thing about being in business. Nobody wants to be in business and you don't have no customers. Your business will eventually fail. So that's why I'm talking about being busy. Like I say, the real estate market is, like I say, a lot of competition. You really got to have a strong network of partners to really survive. Even as a realtor, they'll tell you that because for them, getting the listings is one of the biggest things. It's a numbers game. And I know that from my days of being a military recruiter and stuff. It's a numbers game. How many phone calls did you make this day? How many appointments did you set this day? And how many of those appointments turn into in-the-seat interviews each day? It's a numbers game. And all those who came in to interview them, how many of them are actually qualified to join the military? And those numbers get cold. These are numbers that you called 100 people and you maybe set 10 appointments. Out of those 10 appointments, how many actually came in and sat in a chair? Maybe 3. Out of 3 that show up, maybe only 1 qualifies to join the military. So it's a numbers game. You got to have the numbers. And that means you got to have the hustle. Especially when you talk about residential properties. Commercial properties, you can do pretty good with not having that high numbers because the cost per job is a lot more. When you start talking about commercial developments, commercial buildings, those tilt-ups, those Amazons, those FedEx facilities and UPS facilities, those guys talking millions of dollars. So paying a drone pilot $600, $700, $800 is nothing to them. Nothing at all. So like I'm saying is that, depending upon what market you want to operate in, it all depends on how hard your hustle is going to be. And not that it gets easier with the bigger projects. It's just that you got to make sure you deliver it every time, no matter the big projects or small projects. Because like I say, as Johnny said here, your reputation is everything. And sometimes you have to go above and beyond. The guy asked for 25 shots. The bird's already up. Give him 30, 40 shots. Give him a selection. you know, and everything. They want video orbits and stuff. They want one at 300 feet. Give them one at 300. Give them one at 150 and whatever else. Always, I mean, once the bird is up, it's up. It's not going to kill you to take a few extra shots here, all that kind of stuff. But when you actually are wasting time, not being productive, that's the difference. That's what the difference is, and everything. So that's always a good deal. Hey, Lance, how you doing? How's things up in Seattle? So, has anybody's got any more questions? Send them out here. I don't know everything. Like I say, what I don't know, I'll try to, direct you in the right direction to find out what you need to know. I will reference people that I may know that are in that industry. You go look at their stuff, so you can get a better idea of what may need to take place. So, like I said, I know every year we get the same type of cycle. Usually it starts around Christmas with a lot of folks getting drones, new drones for Christmas, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, it was great weather down here today also, Lance. I appreciate you guys up in Seattle. Appreciate any nice days you get up there and stuff. And as I was saying that, then these guys figure out, hey, this drone's pretty cool. And usually by the end of January, going to February, we start seeing the abundance of questions of, hey, I might want to do this as a little side business or gig, or I'm ready to quit my job and go do this. And I always tell people, I said, don't be in a hurry to go quit your job and go drones full time. I think it's always wise whenever possible. Okay. I think it's wise whenever possible, if you can gradually work yourself into this, that might be the best way possible, or either a better and more secure way to get into this. Yeah, you're all Spartan. Under promise, over deliver. Name of the game right there. But I always tell people, I said, look at what you're doing already. And that's what I did. I mean, I've been knowing about drones for several years. I can go back 30 years, probably 40 years. My older brother was into the RC planes. And at that time, I just, didn't have the extra funds to get into it back then in the early 80s. But, I saw it in the industry I worked in for construction. I got into it, start talking to site foremen. They were talking about they had people out of their office who would come out and fly their sites every month. And I'm like, okay, there's an ideal. And then I took that and just, started doing work for the city. I did a lot of work. I still do a lot of work with the engineers on park projects, city improvement, capital improvement projects. 'Cause like anything else, everybody wants to know where the dollars are going. So a lot of times the work that I do for the drone side of the work shows up at city council meetings, shows up at building, we call them building commission meetings and so forth. Because we all know the old cliche, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Okay. And the same thing. People want to know, where's my tax dollars going? Where are we spending this money in our city going? Here it is right here. This is what it looked like on the first day of the project. This is what it looked like midway of the project. And here's the end result of that project. So a lot of times, I tell people, look at what your job is. Think about, can drones assist in what you do? And like I say, it's not just certain aspects of life. A drone can be used just like Lance is a school teacher. Okay, he does audio visual instruction at a school. You think drones can't be helpful in that? That's just like being part of the news crew, audio visual in schools. Like I say, construction, any type of work that can be done. Okay, what I do for the city. I was an inspector for several years. Now I'm the safety officer for the entire city. I get tasked now with doing investigations on accidents. When I say accident, I'm not talking about vehicle accidents. I'm talking about people tripping and falling on sidewalks, all these type of different things. I also get involved with investigations with employee incidents as far as, workers' comp, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, there might be situations where I need to get an aerial shot of something. That drone allows me to do that and go from there. Still using the ground camera. I use a old beat up Kodak. I can't think of the name. It was a Kodak Z90, something like Z95, 5 megapixel camera, point and shoot. I use those for my city investigations. And the reason why I use that camera for that is because it's a low resolution. Not that the picture's not good, but I can send these pictures to anybody's email. I'm not saying, oh, you exceeded the parameters of the email or whatever else, transferring files. That if somebody need to see a shot of something, I can send it with no problem and go from there. So that's what I'm saying. It's nice to have top-notch gear. I would love to go out and buy another DLSR, which I plan on doing so, and just to make sure I stay current with the industry. And that's another key point I'm gonna hit on here, is that you need to know what the industry is in your area. That can make or break you more than anything else. You can have the top of the line gear, everything brand new, everything that that any manufacturer out there, DJI, Autel, Wingtra, whoever makes it, you can have it. But if that market is not in your area, you're gonna have a very expensive collection of wasteful gear. And like I tell people, I told people about solar. Solar is very big in Southern California, very big across the Southwest, California, Arizona, Nevada, and I'm pretty sure places like in Texas, New Mexico, Texas, most of part of Oklahoma, these western states, solar is big, and it's like wind turbines. You look at what's growing in your area, what is becoming the norm in your area, and like I say, you may not have to be there on day one, but like I say, all this equipment, all these solar panels, all these wind turbines that are going up, solar farms that are going up, one day they're going to need to be inspected. And we've already found out that the best way inspecting wind turbines and solar farms is with a drone. Less time consuming, and the big thing is it's a lot safer than sending somebody else up on a wind turbine. They may have to go up there and do the actual repairs, but to see what needs to be repaired is just as much as half the issue. Because there's no repairs needed, no risk of sending somebody up there. And just like roofing, I can tell people all the time, I say, if I lived in eastern part of Texas, the eastern part of Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, especially Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, all the way into Florida, dude, I would be hanging on to every insurance company's business card all the time. Soon as I hear hurricane or tornado coming, all I'll be doing is seeing dollar signs dancing in my head as I sleep. Those places are just, like I say, it's a treasure trove for drone products. It's just a treasure trove. And I remember when I was a operator, heavy equipment operator, when Katrina happened in Louisiana, I was very tempted to go to Louisiana and help with the cleanup because I know they needed equipment operators, desperately needed them. So only thing I needed was a place to lay my head because they were paying folks big money to assist in the cleanup. Now, I say with drones, you can latch on to work with FEMA. You can latch on to work for insurance companies or any other municipality that looks to need to have GIS information. And that is exactly what you would be doing is providing GIS information, which is basically maps, is what you're providing. Because when a storm comes through at that level of a tornado or hurricane or flood or whatever, everything gets destroyed, rearranged, roads get washed out, bridges collapse, you name it, now you have different things. If you're there as part of a first response team or disaster response team, as is more commonly referred to, you are there to assist in recovery efforts. You are there to assist the response centers to where they need to stage gear, where they need to send resources to help people. You're part of that GIS information hub, that you're working closely with IT groups, that you're out there flying it, gathering information and bringing it back and uploading. That's why they talk about, somebody had a system, I think, other day, are talking about how they were trying to, I think it was either Verizon or somebody, T-Mobile, somebody was trying to sell off a real-time, basically, they want to live stream the drone activity as it was occurring, which is nothing new to a lot of us who do live streaming on YouTube and everything else. Not a big deal for us. But you know what that means? You have experience. If you have live streamed before and you fly a drone, guess what? Now you have experience flying a drone live streaming. Because guess what? The technology ain't going to be much different. It's just going to be for a different service. That's all. It'll be on a closed network. That's all it's going to be, So that's what I'm saying, that, be ready, prep yourself, have the mindset that you're ready to take that next step. Because when the opportunity comes, you don't want to blink, and you don't want to have to tell yourself, maybe next time, because it might not be a next time. That's been life in general. Not that it changes what our current situation is in America today, or even where you may be across the world, is that those who are ready to step up to the plate, those who are ready and prepared mentally to take the chance of opportunity to go forth. And that's what's key. Hey, Lawrence, how you doing, partner? Appreciate you coming in, give a little support. Stuff. Anybody else I missed? I know I got Jody, Spartan, Lance, all that kind of good stuff. Appreciate you guys and stuff. I just came on tonight just to, like I say, Lawrence, I had to go out and spend some money, invest. Like I say, invest in yourself, invest in your business. And I said, I don't know how long you've been lurking, Lawrence. I know you and Herman are king of lurkers. But yeah, I just went out and spent about $6,000 on survey level gear, GNSS system, so I can go out and start marking GCPs. So, hey, Mr. Mark, how you doing? Jim's droning. We got the Canadian contingency and the UK contingency coming in the house. So I guess I better sit up straight and act right. Them folks are prim and proper over there, and they speak that funny English. Oh, man. But I want to thank everyone who's here, who's been in here. I just wanted to just, talk a little bit tonight, talk about getting drone business. I know there's a lot of shows who stream on YouTube that really covers the hobbyist level. But this is the reason why I started a live stream for the commercial side of the house. There's not a whole lot of, or hardly any place for those people like myself to go and share knowledge, or at least share experiences on what we deal with on a daily basis while we're out there. So this is the purpose of my show, which is called The Last Call. I usually do my show on the last Sunday of the month, which this month will be, I think, on the 30th. So that's when I do my official show, and most of the times I'm covering rules and regulations, and also some of the things that are coming out in the industry. And of late, the one thing that we all been talking about on both the commercial and hobbyist side is the potential legislation that is being brought forth by certain lawmakers. And like I said, there's been somebody, a few folks have pulled the curtain back and exposed some of the folks who have been pushing this agenda behind the scenes. And that's the sad part, that, that it comes back to individuals who are all tied to particularly one company for sure. And now they have found a way to uh, infiltrate other people, organizations, and so forth, and continue to push this agenda forward. So that's the unfortunate part. And with the mindset of our current political climate here in America, uh, all I can say is buckle up, hold tight, because we don't know where this is going for sure. If any of this legislation passes, it could be a major turning point for the drone industry overall. Even for it might be a positive turn for drone manufacturers in the states, and it may be a negative for drone manufacturers abroad. But we're hoping that that things kind of remain the same, still give all of us the opportunity to choose what we want to choose, because no one has forced us to buy Chinese-made drones, and no one has disqualified or wouldn't take our money to buy American drones. But it's like with any other business or any type of situation, we're gonna buy what's the best bang for our bucks. We do that for everything else in our lives, and it's sad to say that we may not have that choice when it comes to drones in the future. And stuff. Jim's droning, moved to Canada. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Even though I was a little kid at the time, I spent a good 2 years on Newfoundland, Goose Bay. So I've already paid my respects to Canada. I was back in the mid to late 60s when I was there. Looking at Anzul Robotics, Spartan, I can say high hopes. I hope Anzul is able to navigate the minefield of all this legislation that's trying to come forth. We'll have to just wait and see. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing clear cut, because we all know now, as listening to the CEO Randall Warnass of Anzul, that this is a hybrid system that is based off a DJI model for the most part, and we'll have to see how it'll be looked upon. Even though, like I say, you can get all the parts you want, but they're talking about not allowing even manufacturers of parts to be used or sold or operated according to not just the legislation, which would cover the FCC and the FAA and whatever else, alphabet soup agency that gets involved with commerce, is that they might find themselves on the outside looking in also. So that's what I'm saying. It's a little unsure. I wish the best to Anzul. I like the fact that it does give us another option. I do like that a lot. It gives us another option. And I say price-wise, it is fairly priced. A lot of people, especially those from the, I would say, hobbyist level, who are not used to paying $4,000 to $5,000 for a drone. That's, for me, from a commercial level, that's about as accurate as you can be. When I bought my Mavic Enterprise Advance 3.5 years ago now, it was almost $7,000. It was I think 6,800 with that drone. I bought the M30T when it was still priced at 15 and some change. So, I cannot be upset at the pricing of the Anzul drone. It is right there with the rest of the parts, and like I say, it is definitely a twin brother or twin sister of the Mavic 3 Enterprise drone. The only difference we're really looking at now is the operating system being here in the United States, as far as developed by Aloft, and I think Aloft is also going to be in charge of storage of all the data that will be collected off of these drones, as far as what we use them for. So that's only I would say the American side of this. The rest of it comes from overseas. But the software is always key, just like a lot of things. We look at all our phones and so forth, but the software is American software. You talk about Apple, iOS, you talk about the Google, and everything else. It's all American software. But the hardware part, we all know primarily most of all Apple gear is made overseas. Uh, just about, I would say, close to what 85% of all phones being used are out of overseas, out of Korea area, Singapore, Vietnam, and a lot of those parts all come out of China. So, like I say, it all depends how hard they're going to look at manufacturing sources of what they can determine what will and what will not be allowed to be used, and that's what goes to drones. And that's why I even tried to send out a warning over a month and a half, 2 months ago. I said I hope the FPV group starts paying attention because they are the raw material users of a lot of this gear, and we know most of these parts, from motors to board sets and everything else, are all coming out of Taiwan, which parts of Taiwan will still come out of China and everywhere else across the planet. So you're talking about, if not being able to get your hands on it, we're talking about definitely a supply chain issue to where the cost is going to go sky high and availability is going to be limited. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of different things that can occur with this legislation, and that's why we need to be careful. We need to be mindful. Can't stress enough for those who do not. I was on a show the other night. Most people have been talking about it, from Bill drone reviewer, Russ over at 51 Drones, the guys over at Pilot Institute. Everybody's been talking about Drone Advocacy Alliance. You know, you get, like I say, you can't complain if you don't get in the game. That's all I can put like that. If you're not out to take the opportunity to contact your local elected individuals in the Congress and the Senate, you really can't complain of what happens. So like I said, I know I contact all of mine, both my senators and congressmen in my area that represents where I live at, and have expressed. And I've talked to my congressman twice now, and I actually was trying to nail him down when I went to go visit D.C. in March, but he was out here in California when I was in D.C. So, like I say, if you have the opportunity, like I say, take the time, go to the website, and fill out the form and have it sent. I think based upon Congressperson Stefanik out of New York's latest position, to where she's asking the DOJ to investigate the Drone Advocacy Alliance to see if they're in violation of a Foreign Agent Act, that our emails are taking effect, that, like I say, people who feel comfortable don't take extra steps. Okay. Her taking this extra step, is a clear sign to me that our email campaign is touching enough people, but we need to touch a whole lot more to get our concerns truly heard. Enough has been said that she wants to take this part and try to find another way to mitigate the influence or potential influence of DGI. And I always tell people, if you go to the site and you look at the bottom of that page, it's not just DGI. Alltails is a member of the alliance. A lot of resellers, and this is the part that a lot of people don't think about, because, like I say, us who are commercial pilots, I don't walk into Best Buy to buy anything. The last drone I walked into Best Buy to buy was a Spark 6 years ago. That's the last and only drone I bought out of Best Buy. All the rest of my drones, if I bought them, my Phantoms, I bought those all secondhand off of resellers, and all my enterprise drones I had to buy from enterprise dealers or resellers is what we call them. Okay, So we talk about, people from Drone Nerds, Drone Works, Steel City Drones. What's the guys out here in California? Around the tip of my tongue, I bought the light system from them for my M30T. These are the folks who will just get devastated. And most of these people are small businesses. There's only one major player in the game, and that's because their background is in cameras, and that's B&H and Adorama, and their sister companies. They're tied at the hip. So all these other companies that are out there, they're small, I would say small potatoes compared to Amazon or something like that. But you can't buy an M30T off Amazon. You can't go into Best Buy and buy M30T off the shelf. So these are the only places that you get them from. And I say the Enzo is going to be the same thing. The Enzo is not going to be sold at Best Buy. You're going to have to go to a recognized reseller to get it, because those are the agreements they have with DJI. And that's why people always worry about the price. The price is fixed. You can't compare price between one from DroneWorks against Drone Nerds. Okay, that's not gonna work. They're gonna give you the same price, because that's part of their contract work. That's part of them being able to be dealers and resellers, because they can't undercut the product at all. And they might send you some stickers and some other stuff to sweeten the pot, but for the base price for that piece of equipment, you're gonna pay the same price across the board, no matter who you deal with. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. That these legislation laws that are being filtered through the system have a very much domino effect across the industry. Now, a lot of you guys that are hobbyists that are in here, that I know that are hobbyists, like I said, it may not think it affects you, but I know people like me who are commercial operators, we would be hard pressed to be able to find any equipment, any services as far as repair work on our drones, because 9 times out of 10, we have to send our drones right back to these same individuals for repair work. Or even, like I say, like you talk about the M30T and the M300 and the M350, even for maintenance work, you have to send them back to one of these individuals or have to send it back directly to DJI. Now, I'm not sure what Autel has set up for their Evo Max system, but like I say, you just can't take it down to the Geek Squad and says, hey, my drone is due for maintenance. And they're going to look at you like you lost your mind and stuff. So that's what I'm saying, that, these bills will have a devastating domino effect across the industry. That you talk about putting people out of jobs, taking people's livelihoods away. It's not just the end users like myself and many of you are, but we're also talking about the drones, the people we buy these drones from. Like I said, the B&Hs and stuff who are heavily invested in photography, always has been, always will be. They'll survive. It's just one less item that they'll offer off their shelves. But like I said, their main function is basically in the photography range. And that's why I say, you see their commercials, you hardly ever see a B&H commercial on YouTube or even on regular TV that talks about drones. They talk about all the other stuff they sell. And I say they're considered one of the big boys of resellers. So you talk about some of these other people who don't have that level of product lineup, I should say, they're going to get crushed, because some of them are solely entrenched in enterprise level drones. And what comes with that is like, RTK systems and LiDAR systems and all this kind of stuff. That's where their bread and butter is made. It's just like going to the high-end car dealerships. They're not selling everything across the board like a CarMax. These guys are selling nothing but Ferraris, or they sell nothing but Aston Martins or whatever else. You're not going to go to Aston Martin dealership and say, let me see that Toyota 4Runner over there. They're going to laugh you off the lot. So when you're talking about eliminating certain manufacturers and stuff like that, it's more than just protectionism. It's more than just trying to boost the American manufacturers, and that's always the first question is, and especially for you hobbyists, you said, okay, where are the American manufacturers for consumer or hobbyist level drones? And I tell you right now, there are none. And there's, like I said, there's only a handful of American manufactured enterprise level drones, and usually they only have one drone available. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. That you try to go buy Teal, that's all they got, just that one drone. Skydio, you can get the Skydio 2, and actually now they got the 10X. That's it. They don't have a big selection. They invested all their marbles in one drone for the most part, and that's it. So there is no selection. So that's the other downside is that you may not want a $20,000, $25,000 drone from Skydio, but they don't have a $800 version for you. They walked away from that over a year ago. So these are the things you look at. You look at Wingtra that makes the flying wing. They don't make nothing for consumers. Not a thing. Same thing with Teal. Nothing. And they only sell one drone at the enterprise level. So that's the nuts and bolts of it right there. All right, folks, I've been running my mouth for almost close to an hour and a half. I appreciate those who have stayed in here. Hey, Spartan, I don't know you, but you know what? Appreciate you coming in, partner. That was somebody else who came in here that was fairly new to me. There was another guy trying to go back to the chat and see who it was. Johnny Galbraith. Yeah, appreciate you guys coming in. Spread the word about the last call. Like I said, I normally come on the last Sunday of each month. That's when we do the last call, the last Sunday of each month. And that's when we really get deep dive into local laws and regulations, because that's been a lot of questions that are asked about flying drones, especially commercial individuals, as about I would say, the minefield or the misinformation that you run into dealing with municipalities and private entities saying that you can't fly here. So we have to clear up some of that stuff and make sure that we stand up for what is our rights to fly, but make sure we don't think that it is an automatic right that we can fly whenever we want to. So we always got to make sure we stay within the rules and guidelines and don't let other people trample on our rights either. So this is Dre, Recovering One Drones. You guys have a great weekend ahead. Those that you have storms coming in, hey, hang in there, partners. Summer's just around the corner. So, as always, hang on, enjoy the ride, and please subscribe. Thank you.